Hello my loves and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to dive into today's topic. I want to talk about resilience because for me over the last couple of weeks that's been like the biggest topic, because what I realized is that so many things were happening and I really have to say I have built so much resilience over the last year or so that it doesn't matter like what happened and how bad it was, it didn't really affect me as much as it would have been a few years ago. And in fact, I was still able to show up and do the things I wanted to do. Maybe not the same way, but at least I can say 100% it didn't affect me emotionally that it was holding me back, right? So with that being said, there were like a few situations and like a few things happening, and often, you know, we always kind of have something we're navigating or going through, and that's just life, right? So there's never really a point in our lives where there's just nothing happening. Like there's always something, some problem you have to solve, or some situation you're working through, or, you know, even just like working towards goals. Like with that, there is often resistance or little issues, problems, things that are coming up. So I really want to talk about like what changed for me and how I was able to build that resilience, and yeah, how it all looks like for me now. I remember a few years ago, not that long ago actually, like even last year, I was so affected by the way people were treating me. Like I could literally go to a cafe, and if the waitress was just like mean or rude to me, I would like be in a bad mood straight away. And now I'm like, no, you know what, it's not about me. Like that person may be going through some stuff, or maybe they're just unhappy with their lives, or maybe, you know, they have a mean boss in the back who was just yelling at them, and now they're just like, you know, in a bad mood. So now every time I have a person who I see they're stressed or they're a bit mean or rude or whatever, I'll be extra nice to them, because I'm like, you don't know what they're going through, and if I can share my happiness with them, then that's a win. And even me just being nice. And I had a situation the other day where that person was like, I could tell, well, she was mean to me, and I could just tell she was probably stressed, or like I said, maybe her boss said something to her, because I saw them like talking in the back before. And then I was like intentionally being extra nice and like, you know, sharing some nice words with her, making her a compliment, and afterwards she was smiling. I was like, that makes me so happy, because like I can see that big change in myself, and even if she, you know, didn't smile, it would still not affect me, and that's what it's all about. And also with like other situations, like I had a few different situations going on. It's not about denying them. Like I would always say, feel the emotions you want to feel, or you have to feel. In fact, you should not suppress them. But equally, you can learn that things can coexist. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You are allowed to be sad and grieve and feel all the emotions, while at the same time, you know, if you're happy, or a song comes up that you really like, or, you know, you have a birthday that night, you're allowed to like go there happy, have fun, and like live your best life, because you don't always have to be sad because something sad happens and you think you have to be sad and you're not allowed to be happy, because it's not like that. It's not that one emotion is suppressing the other. Like they can actually coexist in their own time, and there's place and space for both of them. And the way I like to think of it now, I was just talking to a friend yesterday, and I was like, I feel like I have built this bubble around me, right? So I'm working on this bubble every single day, and for me the biggest thing is just my morning routine. If you've watched my previous videos, you would have heard me say that already a few times, but like my morning routine is like so solid. Me just doing things that make me feel good. And I know that these things kind of keep up my bubble, right? So whatever happens, so outside, people, situation, events, like, you know, they're all there and they're allowed to be there, but they're not intriguing into my bubble. I kind of like that. I feel like it's a good way to think of it. And so I would really ask myself, what do I need to do to keep that bubble, to create that safe space for myself, so that it doesn't matter what happens, or it doesn't matter how people are treating me, I'm gonna be fine regardless. Also, what I learned is, for myself, is practicing gratitude is such a huge thing, because just appreciating everything we've got, it is such a mindset shift to just appreciate little things and not take everything for granted, because you shouldn't. And for me, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I'm happy to be alive. Like, that is, so many people don't wake up the next morning, or, you know, they maybe live in war, or like, you know, be scared for their life, or are really sick or whatever. And I'm like, I'm alive. I'm so grateful for another day. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I have a healthy body. And, you know, I get to go to Pilates and do my workout because my body is healthy and I can do that. I get to go outside for a walk because it's beautiful, the sun is shining, and I love that. I get to go and spend money. I get to go and drive in my car. I get to put fuel in my car because my car is driving me to places. I get to go to work and make money. I get to do all these things, and often we resonate things like, you know, paying for fuel or paying for bills and all that in such a negative light, because we think, oh, I have to pay my bills, I have to pay that, I have to pay for this, I have to pay for my gas, I have to pay, I have to go to work, and like all these things. But if you reframe it and just say like, I get to do that, I get to buy fuel for my car because I get to go to places where I want to go. I get to pay my bills because it gives me the power for like electricity and like all these things. And a heater, like I'm so grateful for my heater, it's fucking freezing. But you get the gist, right? So just reframing that. So I feel like it kind of touches on the whole money mindset thing, because so often we think spending money is such a negative thing, but it's not, because you get to spend that, you get something in return. So focus on the thing you get in return and be so thankful and grateful that you get to spend that money because of the things you get in return. The biggest thing for me over the last year, it was I had to apply for a new visa this year, and I didn't know whether or not I was going to get it, whether or not I was going to stay, and it was constantly in the back of my mind, because I was like, I've lived here for 7 years and suddenly I don't know if I can stay. Like basically they could have told me that I have to leave tomorrow, and I've built here my whole life. Everything is here. I live here, my apartment is here, my car is here, my business is here, and it's very location bound. Like of course I've gained all that knowledge and I could build up something new, and I wouldn't exactly start from scratch because I have all that knowledge and, you know, that experience, but still like I've built my client base here and everything. And suddenly everything was on risk, right? I didn't know whether or not I get to keep that or what's going to happen. And it was like, I was okay with the fact of leaving, but this not knowing, it was so bad. And with that, it was like, of course, it was quite bad and it was hard and it was constantly in the back of my mind. And it was like, you know, something you have to accept. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I might be leaving soon. So what would I do if I had to leave, how would I live my life? And one thing I did was moving close to the beach. I was like, that was always one of my biggest dreams. And if I go back home to Germany, that's not even an option. So I'm gonna do it. And financially, probably not the best decision, but it made me so happy that it was worth it. And I'm so grateful I'm still here. And I'm really just, over the last year, I had so much gratitude for every single day. I was just living my best life, getting up in the morning, excited to walk down to the beach, go for my morning walk or run, have delicious coffee, the sunshine, the ocean. These are all things that I personally just really, really enjoy. And it just made me so unbelievably happy. And yeah, just really accepting the fact that, okay, you know, there's always a positive and a negative, and a negative and a positive is like that sign of the good and the bad and the bad and the good. And that's life, because it's never just black or white. It's always, there's always something, you know, you can see in the negatives. And another thing, one of my family members passed away recently, and of course I was really sad, and that was like one of the moments where I realized why it is so hard to live so far away from your family, and you can't just go home and, you know, say goodbye to the people you love. But it also made me realize that life is so short. Life can just be over like this, and it really made me appreciate that I'm healthy and that I get to live another day, and I get to feel all these emotions, whether it's happy, being sad, being excited, being nervous. Like, that's all part of life. And I know it sounds so basic, but I'm just like so grateful. And I'm really just focusing on things I can do and not have to do, and, you know, reframing that, what I mentioned earlier, like I get to do that because I can. We take so much for granted. And I just realized that there are always going to be things you're working through. There are always going to be things that may make you sad, but equally, you can still enjoy life and you can still be grateful for everything you do have. And instead of focusing everything you don't have or where you're lacking, focus on the things you have. And of course, for me, I've got big dreams. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've got really big dreams, and sometimes I feel like I'm so far away from that, and I'm like running and I'm like not getting anywhere. But at the same time, I'm like, I've already gotten so far. I've already achieved so much that I wish I had 5 years ago. I've already have all these things, and if I'm constantly unhappy about what I don't have, I'm like completely missing the point, because like I already have so much that I wish I had like 5 years ago. So now I'm like, I am so grateful, and I'm like, I really appreciate everything I have. But at the same time, I know I have bigger goals, and I know I'm gonna get there, and I know I'm not quite there yet, but I'm actually so happy for everything that I've already built, for everything that I already have achieved, and the life I can live now, and everything I can do that I couldn't do years ago. And life is constantly changing, but it's not a bad thing. It's actually beautiful, and I love change. And of course, it's unfamiliar, and sometimes it can be stressful and freak you out. But change means you're growing. Change means something is evolving. So change can actually be very exciting as well. So coming back to resilience, in times where life feels a bit more heavy and there are a bit more negative emotions around, how can you still show up and do the things you know you have to do, but maybe you just do the minimum and it gets to be fine? But how do you spend your other time? How can you add more fun? How can you add more play? Maybe you need to see your friends more during that time, or your family, or like people that support you, or maybe people you can have some fun with, or whatever it looks like for you, whatever you feel like. I feel resilience actually has a lot to do with that. So navigating these negative emotions and playing with it in a way that they get to be there, but what do I need to do in order to balance it? And for me recently, that really looked like having more fun, dancing around in my living room, going out more, seeing my friends more, and just like taking life a little bit more lighthearted. Because usually I'm so focused with work and I'm always like bam, 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 work, 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 next thing, what is going on, I can't see you, I gotta work, like always like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, even though I often think I need to take my personal life a bit more serious. But besides that, like for me recently, navigating with all these events that were happening just looked like inviting more play and fun into my life, taking things less serious, and maybe taking a little step back from work and those big goals that I'm working through. And that's not to say that I was not doing anything, I was still doing it, but not to the same extent that I would do if I didn't have all these things happening. With that being said, I really want you to have more fun in your life. That's just like my vibe at the moment. Yeah, I've just been really enjoying that part of and that side of me. So ask yourself, how can you have more fun in your life? What can you do? And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It could literally just be put on your favorite song and just like dance around in your living room like nobody's watching. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye!